Beneath South Yorkshire's calm villages and grand estates lies a darker past. Discover 10 of the most haunted places where chilling legends and restless spirits still linger after dark. Brodsworth Hall. Brodsworth Hall rises from quiet parkland just outside Doncaster, its grand Victorian stonework glowing softly in the fading light. Built in the 19th century for the Thellisson family, it remains one of the best preserved country houses of its age. By day, it offers a glimpse into elegant life of another century, a museum of marble fireplaces and sweeping staircases. But when the last visitors leave and the dusk deepens, the house takes on a very different life. Local legend tells of a dining room where the door handle turns without a touch and the heavy door swings open of its own accord. Chairs are heard scraping back from the long mahogany table as though an unseen dinner guest is taking his seat. More than one night, watchman has sworn to glimpsing a tall man in a brown tweed suit seated calmly at the head of the table. Many believe this quiet figure to be Augustus Thellisson, an early master of the hall who simply never laid down his duties. The grand staircase holds its own chill. Visitors speak of a lady in a Victorian gown descending slowly step by step, her face hidden beneath a dark veil before vanishing as she reaches the marble floor. At the landing above, a man in a khaki uniform has been seen to turn and walk into a room that no longer exists. On still nights, some guests report a sudden pressure on the back, as though gently but firmly pushed from an upstairs doorway, the kind of touch that leaves the heart racing long after it ends. Even the grounds have their mysteries. A mist has been known to gather without warning by the gates from which a man in an old tricorn hat is said to emerge. He lingers only a heartbeat before fading into the darkness as though the earth itself reclaims him. Today, Brodsworth Hall stands as a showcase of Victorian grace, carefully preserved for public admiration. Yet beneath the polish of marble and the scent of cut lawns, the house remains alive with whispers of its past. To walk its staircases at night is to feel that every creak of timber and every soft breath of air might carry the memory of those who refuse to leave. Conisbrough Castle, on a limestone hill above the quiet town of Conisbrough, stands a medieval fortress whose pale keep gleams against the Yorkshire sky. Conisbrough Castle has endured since the 12th century, a place of power and siege, where kings and knights once plotted within its high circular tower. By daylight, the ruin feels bold and solid, a monument to Norman might. But when dusk settles and the tourists depart, the castle becomes a stage for older, stranger presences. Among the most enduring legends is that of the Grey Monk. Cloaked in a habit of dark wool, he is said to appear soundlessly within the chapel or glide among the outer walls. Some witnesses describe him pausing, as though in silent prayer, before melting into the stone. Others speak of a white lady shimmering on the very top of the keep, a fragile figure against the moon, her gown stirred by a wind that does not touch the ground below. Many more unsettling signs are reported. Visitors have heard footsteps pacing the empty passages and a woman sobbing where no one stands. A loud bang reverberates through the keep, followed by a groan or the eerie sound of breathing close at hand. One traveler pausing on the spiral stair felt a sudden grip upon his shoulder. He turned expecting a companion, but the narrow stairwell was empty and the air around him icy cold. Some believe the Grey Monk is the spirit of a cleric who died defending his chapel. Others say the White Lady is a noblewoman who waited for a lover who never returned. Whether these stories are history or haunting the sensations are real to those who feel them. Today, Conisbrough Castle is carefully maintained, its ancient stones open to visitors. Yet, as night falls and the echo of day fades, the ruin seems to awaken. Bangs and whispers rise from the walls, a gentle sob drifts from the chapel, and the unseen hand that once startled a lone climber may still reach from the shadows. To stand on the keep at twilight is to sense that the centuries are thin here, and that the dead have never truly left their fortress on the hill. Sheffield Central Library. In the heart of Sheffield stands an imposing stone building whose quiet reading rooms conceal a far older history. Sheffield Central Library, opened in the 1930s, is celebrated for its elegant architecture and vast collection of books. Yet few visitors realize that this place of learning was raised upon darker ground. Long before the first shelf was built, the site was home to a medical school where lives often began and ended in secrecy. The weight of that past seems to linger still. For decades, staff and readers have whispered of strange events after closing time. Most chilling is the sound of a long-drawn sigh, described as the final breath of a dying man. It drifts across deserted corridors or floats between the towering stacks, sudden and unmistakable in the silence. There is also the tale of the disembodied hand. One evening, a librarian working late felt a twitching grip clutch at her skirt. She turned sharply, expecting a prank, but found only the hush of books and the echo of her own startled breath. The unseen hand relaxed and fell away, leaving her trembling. Despite many reports, the phantom limb has never been witnessed again, as if satisfied with a single, unforgettable greeting. Other staff speak of books tumbling from secure shelves or the soft tread of footsteps pacing a floor that moments earlier lay empty. Some nights, the atmosphere changes. Without warning, the air grows heavy, the light dims, and the vast reading room seems to hold its breath. Whether these phenomena are spirits of long-ago physicians, echoes of those who died in the medical school, or something even older, no one can say. But to walk alone through the labyrinth of stacks after dark is to feel a presence just beyond sight, listening and waiting. By day, Sheffield Central Library remains a haven for study and quiet thought. By night, it becomes something stranger, a place where the thirst for knowledge brushes against the mystery of death, and where every sigh of the building might carry the memory of a final breath drawn long ago. The Punch Bowl Inn, set beside quiet fields on the edge of Thorn. The Punch Bowl Inn wears the friendly face of a country pub. Its timbered walls and low beams speak of warmth and company of centuries of travelers stopping for food and ale. Yet when the laughter fades and the doors are locked, this inn reveals a more unsettling side, one that has earned it a place among South Yorkshire's most haunted. The oldest stories center on a mischievous little boy who is never quite seen, but often felt. Guests and staff alike speak of playful pranks, a sudden tug at a coat, a gentle tap on the shoulder, a laugh just beyond the edge of hearing. Some claim to have glimpsed a fleeting child-sized shadow darting across the corridor only to vanish when followed. More disturbing are the happenings in the cellar. Workers sent to fetch casks describe an oppressive atmosphere and the unmistakable sensation of a finger tapping their shoulder when no one stands nearby. The chill deepens in room 12. Visitors there tell of waking in darkness to find themselves held fast by an unseen force, unable to move or cry out until the presence slowly withdraws. One long-serving landlord admitted he refuses to enter the cellar alone after nightfall. He recalls an evening when every light flickered and died in an instant, leaving the underground chamber black and silent. From the darkness, came a soft giggle, childlike yet somehow distant, followed by the sound of footsteps ascending the stairs, though no door opened. Legends differ on who the little boy might be. Some speak of a stable hand who met a tragic end, others of a child from a neighboring farm who never found his way home. Whatever the truth, the energy he leaves behind is both playful and unnerving. Today, the Punch Bowl Inn still welcomes visitors with hearty meals and open fires. But those who linger after closing time sense that laughter and ghostly mischief share these rooms. To spend a night in room 12 is to risk an encounter with a force that delights in blurring the boundary between innocence and fear. St. Peter's Church. On a gentle rise above the village of Barnborough stands St. Peter's Church, a Norman building of grey stone, whose square tower has watched nearly 9 centuries of Yorkshire weather. In daylight, it is serene, its churchyard dotted with ancient yews and worn gravestones. Yet when darkness falls and the mist gathers low among the tombs, St. Peter's reveals a far stranger character, a place where legend and haunting meet. The church is inseparable from a dramatic medieval tale. Centuries ago, Sir Percival Crusaker, a local knight, is said to have been ambushed near these very grounds by a monstrous wild cat. The beast clawed and bit with unnatural fury. Though the knight finally killed it, his wounds were mortal. He was found dead upon the porch sword, still in hand, and the story of his final fight has never faded. Visitors claim the past replays itself on quiet nights. The silhouette of a knight is sometimes seen against a strange blue mist that rises suddenly and without reason. Others speak of a fierce low growl echoing across the graves, the sound of a great cat that no longer walks the earth. Dogs brought to the churchyard often sense what humans cannot. Owners describe their animals, bristling, growling at empty air, or refusing to enter certain paths. One evening, a walker felt a cold rush of air and heard a deep snarl behind him. Turning, he found only shadow and the restless rustle of leaves, yet his dog pulled hard to leave the ground altogether. Inside the church, the atmosphere can be equally unsettling. Parishioners have reported unexplained cold patches and the faint sound of claws upon stone. Whether these manifestations are the spirit of Sir Percival himself, the echo of the beast he fought, or simply centuries of legend breathing through old walls, no one can say with certainty. Today, St. Peter's Church continues its role as a place of worship and reflection. Yet for those who linger at twilight, each creak of the porch and each whisper of the wind carries the memory of a battle between man and creature, a struggle whose outcome still seems to trouble the quiet night. Hoyland Stand. High on a wooded hill near Wentworth rises Hoyland Stand, an 18th century stone folly built as a triumphal tower. By day, its odd tapering form is a curiosity for walkers and history lovers, offering wide views over the South Yorkshire countryside. But when twilight deepens and mist creeps up the hill, the monument becomes something altogether darker, a place where sound and shadow disturb the night. Legends speak of strange noises that ripple through the empty structure. Loud bangs echo from the inner chambers when no visitor is near. A drawn-out shriek seems to climb the spiral stair, rising in pitch until it vanishes abruptly, leaving only silence. Whispers carry through the air like half-heard words. Footsteps shuffle across the stone floor even when the door is barred. More unsettling still is the small cave near the base of the hill. Its entrance is sealed with iron bars, yet locals claim a hooded figure in druidic robes moves freely inside. Walkers have described the figure stepping calmly through the iron barrier as though the metal were smoke. Those who have approached speak of a sudden hostility in the air, a force that presses upon the chest and urges them to turn back. One evening, a pair of hikers paused near the tower as dusk fell. From within, they heard the unmistakable cadence of footsteps ascending the stair, followed by a deep, echoing thud. When they called out, the only answer was a high, keening cry that seemed to spiral upward through the stone until it dissolved in the night sky. Shaken, they retreated down the hill, the feeling of unseen eyes following their every step. Historians suggest the strange sounds might be the settling of ancient masonry or the echo of hidden wildlife. Yet the persistence of these experiences and the figure that walks through iron give the Lowe Stand an aura that defies simple explanation. Today, the folly remains a landmark and a destination for curious visitors. But as darkness gathers and the wind stirs the surrounding woods, many believe the tower awakens, carrying whispers from a past older than its stones. To stand beneath it at night is to feel that something unseen still climbs the spiral stair, never reaching the top, never quite at rest. Worsbrough Mill Museum. Hidden beside a slow, dark mill pond in the South Yorkshire countryside stands Worsbrough Mill, a water-powered corn mill whose history stretches back more than 4 centuries. By daylight, the sound of rushing water and the gentle turning of the great wheel make it an enchanting glimpse of England's working past. Yet when the sun sets and the last visitors leave, the mill takes on a different character, one shaped by tragedy and uneasy echoes. Local tradition tells of a miller who met a violent death within these very walls. One cold evening, he was caught in the heavy machinery of the grinding gears and fatally crushed. His life ended abruptly among the stones and iron that had long been his livelihood. It is said that his restless spirit has never left. Those who work late often speak of a shadowy figure glimpsed near the giant wheel. He appears as a dark outline, stooped and purposeful, moving with the slow, deliberate rhythm of a man still tending his craft. Yet when approached, the figure fades into nothing but drifting flour dust. Visitors sometimes report the soft clatter of machinery springing to life with no water flowing and no hand on the levers, as if the miller continues his endless labor beyond death. One curator recounted closing up after a quiet afternoon when the air grew suddenly heavy. From the upper floor came the unmistakable grind of millstones turning. Certain that a visitor had remained, she climbed the stair to find the room empty, the great stones perfectly still. As she descended, a faint sigh followed her, the sound of effort and resignation blended into one. Even in daylight, certain corners of the mill feel colder than the rest, the chill sharpening when the wheel begins to move. Some guests have noticed a flowery footprint appearing on the dusty floor, leading from the grinding room to the stair and stopping abruptly at the landing. Today, Worsbrough Mill Museum continues to demonstrate traditional milling for the public. Yet behind its educational charm lies a presence older and sadder. To stand within its timbered rooms at night is to feel that the wheel never truly stops, and that the miller, bound to his craft by accident and fate, still keeps watch over every turning gear. Needle's Eye. Deep in the wooded estate near Wentworth stands an enigmatic stone structure known as the Needle's Eye. Built in the 18th century, it is a tall, tapering pyramid pierced by a single narrow arch, its purpose still debated by historians. Some say it was a folly commissioned for spectacle, others a monument to lost love. But local legend tells of a darker past that still leaves its mark on the night air. The most persistent story speaks of a deadly duel. Centuries ago, when questions of honor were settled by pistols at dawn, Two men are said to have met beneath this very archway. As the mists curled around them, shots were fired and blood stained the cold stone. Though their names are forgotten, the memory of violence lingers. Visitors often report a sudden acrid smell of gunpowder that hangs in the stillness as if shots have just been fired. At times, a milky fog rolls in from the surrounding woods and gathers under the arch, thickening until it forms the outline of two human figures. Observers describe them as shadowy men, locked in confrontation, their shapes wavering like smoke. After a moment, they dissolve, leaving only the echo of silence. One evening, a walker paused to watch the sunset through the arch. Without warning, a fine mist rose around him, and a sharp scent stung his nostrils. From within, the fog came the faint metallic click of a pistol being cocked, followed by a soft breath, like a final exhale. Heart pounding, he stepped back into the open field, and the vision vanished as quickly as it had come. Whether these manifestations are spirits replaying their last duel, or simply echoes of legend given life by imagination, the effect is undeniably eerie. The stone stands silent by day, but when darkness falls and moonlight draws sharp angles through the arch, it is easy to believe that time itself folds here, carrying the passions of the dead into the present. Needle's Eye remains a place of mystery and quiet beauty, yet to linger beneath its arch after twilight is to risk breathing the phantom gunpowder of a quarrel that never truly ended. Hoyland Lowe Stand. On a gentle ridge outside Barnsley stands Hoyland Lowe Stand, a lonely square tower built in the 18th century as a hunting lodge and a vantage point over the surrounding estates. By day, it appears as little more than a weathered curiosity, its brickwork softened by moss and time. Yet as the evening mist rises from the fields, the building takes on a mood that has long unsettled locals and travelers alike. The legend most often told concerns a little girl dressed in white. For generations, villagers have reported glimpsing her small figure, framed in the upper window, her face pale and unreadable. She stands quite still, gazing out across the darkening countryside, as if waiting for someone who will never return. Eyewitnesses speak of a sudden hush as they approach the evening birds falling silent. One walker described looking up to see the child's silhouette against the fading sky. He turned away only for a moment, and when he looked back, the window was empty, though no door had opened and no stair creaked. Others have sensed a chill around the base of the tower, a cold that seeps through coat and bone, sharpening as dusk deepens. The origins of the haunting are uncertain. Some say the girl was the daughter of a gamekeeper who perished in a winter storm, her spirit forever seeking her lost family. Others believe the tower itself was cursed during its construction, its upper room a trap for a soul that cannot move on. Whatever the cause, the sightings are remarkably consistent. A solitary child in white, motionless, yet strangely expectant. Inside the tower is bare and echoing. Even on bright afternoons, visitors sometimes feel the press of silence and an unaccountable urge to look upward, as though drawn to the empty room where the child waits. When night falls and moonlight cuts through the high windows, shadows lengthen into uncanny shapes, and the sense of being watched grows stronger. Hoyland Lowe Stand remains a landmark on the Barnsley skyline, a reminder of 18th century grandeur. Yet its quiet stones guard a mystery no one has solved. To pause beneath its walls after sunset is to wonder whether the pale figure above still keeps her lonely vigil unseen, but never absent. Rossington Hall, south of Doncaster, hidden among sweeping lawns and ancient trees, stands Rossington Hall, a grand 19th century mansion that now serves as a venue for weddings and retreats. By day, it appears the picture of stately peace, its long drive curving through quiet parkland. Yet, as dusk settles and the last guests retire, the house begins to echo with a very different story, one whispered in the corridors for generations. The most enduring legend concerns a presence known simply as Annie. Local tradition identifies her as Annette Streetfield, a former resident who died here in 1937. Many believe she never truly departed. Staff closing up late have reported the soft rustle of skirts in an empty hallway or the scent of old perfume that drifts past with no source. Some claim to have glimpsed a woman in period dress at an upstairs window, watching with calm, unblinking eyes before fading back into darkness. There is also talk of a tall gentleman in a top hat and frock coat who walks the grounds after midnight. Gardeners on early shifts have spoken of a figure moving along the tree line, only to vanish as they draw near. One worker recalled the sound of measured footsteps on gravel behind him, the crunch steady and deliberate, though a quick glance revealed only moonlit grass. In the great hall, faint piano notes sometimes break the silence. Visitors exploring alone describe sudden pockets of icy air and a sense that someone stands just out of sight. On rare occasions, a door swings closed with a slow, deliberate click, as if an unseen host were marking the end of an evening long past. Rossington Hall remains a celebrated part of South Yorkshire's heritage, welcoming guests to dine and celebrate within its splendid rooms. Yet beneath the polished wood and soft candlelight lies an atmosphere thick with memory. Whether Annie still wanders in affection for her beloved home, or the gentleman in the frock coat guards its secrets, few doubt that the past is close here. To walk the quiet corridors after midnight is to feel that every footfall is answered by another lighter and more distant, as if someone long departed is keeping pace beside you. A reminder that some stories are not finished even when history says they should be. If these haunted stories chilled you and share this video, leave a comment with your own ghostly tales and subscribe to Creepy Experience for more eerie journeys.